I wanted to share a story with you guys about my first boyfriend. I want to tell you about my first boyfriend. Okay, so I was about, let me see, I was about 17 going on 18 when I first met him. Prior to that, I had never had a boyfriend before. I was considered the ugly duckling, and it was just, it wasn't a pleasant experience being in my adolescent years. Nevertheless, we're talking about my first boyfriend. He was about 6'4", 220 pounds. I remember he used to always weigh himself because he was a boxer. He was a boxer. I was a singer. I thought it was just like the most amazing combination because we both had goals and dreams and aspirations, and what better than two people who are passionate about something that, you know, have something going on in their lives. Little did I know that it was going to be the complete opposite, and it was going to be a very interesting relationship, challenging, and something that I had never experienced before. It first started off very, you know, very innocently, where you see somebody and your eyes lock and you're like, oh my gosh, he is so fine. And so that's how it happened. It was a friend of my mom's friend. My mom's friend, and it was her son, her stepson. And he had just came down from Trinidad to the States, and you know, he had this really sexy accent. I was like, oh my gosh, I love his accent, you know. And that's how it started. And then I would see him, and I would go buy something off for my mom, and he would be there, and then she would say, did you meet my stepson? And she would do all those little things, and I was so shy and blushing and like, oh my gosh. And then one thing led to another. We started talking a little bit. I didn't know I had, you know, that I can even have a conversation. I didn't know I can have a conversation with a guy based on the fact that I liked him or he liked me, because I was terribly shy and really had never had a boyfriend up until that point. So we started talking, and what happened? Started talking, and Auntie Eileen kind of pushed it a little bit. As a matter of fact, she did, because he was new to the country. So what better friend for him to have than someone who was born here and could show him around? So I showed him around, and that's how it started. My mother did tell me, she said, when she kind of picked up that I might be talking to this boy or something might be going on between the both of us, she said, Ruby, I do not want you to talk to this boy. I don't want you talking to him. And you know, when your mothers tell you something, they're usually right. She said I don't know, you know, I really can't remember exactly if she said he was no good for me or why I shouldn't be talking to him, but I know she didn't want me talking to him because there was something about him that she didn't really care for. And sure enough, I went against her wishes, and she didn't really know, but kind of knew, because I would sneak off and see him. We'd go and walk around Manhattan, and we'd spend a lot of time together. I would go by Auntie Eileen a lot to help her out with things and end up staying over there a little longer than usual. Of course, because I was spending time with my new boyfriend. And that was it. We became friends, and it was a long-term relationship, and it was a nightmare, okay? Because when eventually the relationship became a little tumultuous in the fact that he became very possessive, very controlling. He would say that, like if we were walking, he would say, "Why were you looking at that boy?" Or "Why were you looking at that guy?" Or "He was looking at you." Some kind of weird nonsense. And I'm going, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" And we would get into the biggest fight over the fact that he thought I was looking at someone or someone looked at me. And it would turn into a huge fight. I mean, I don't remember if it became physical, but this relationship did ultimately become physical. But I don't think it was physical at that point, meaning that he put his hands on me and it was fighting. We were physically fighting. So another incident, we were eating, and I think he wanted to, like we were eating something and I didn't want to share it with him, and he got upset and it turned into a huge fight because I'm kind of greedy. I like to eat, and back then I used to eat everything and I could eat everything, and I didn't have to worry about weight or anything because I was young, you know, I was a teenager. But we got into the biggest fight over food. I could not believe it. It's unbelievable how you could be a young person and have these huge grown-up fights that take so much energy out of you, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, are you serious? Why is my life spiraling like this? Like, it's because of a boyfriend? It was some huge brawls we would have. And a lot of them was because he was becoming very jealous. And this was an experience that I had never experienced. I don't really remember my mom sharing this with me a lot because she would always tell me about men, the relationships she's been in her life, and she don't need to repeat it. And, you know, she's been with married men, and these married men, they're going to lie to you and tell you they're not married. And then they'll say, "I'll leave my wives for you," and all of that kind of stuff. And so she would school me on things like that, which she had experienced, you know. So, you know, I was looking out for that. But this one came from left field. It was like, what? Somebody's looking at me and it's a huge fight. Or if I was wearing a pants that was too tight, or he thought was too tight, or a little revealing, which I probably wasn't wearing a revealing pants. But I mean, you know, girls wear pants. And I have a behind, and my butt probably was like, you know, like a regular girl. I got a big butt. What can I tell you? And he would flip out. I said, you know what? This is not working, because musically, you know, I have a lot of things going on. I'm going to auditions and I'm excited about my life. I'm young. I'm doing so much. And this man is interrupting my flow right now. So we're going to have to do something about this. And eventually that's what happened. I went off to college locally. And